you and I are not going to live 70 years, right?
Well, fingers crossed, but we'll see. Welcome back to another week, another episode of The Word Made Fresh, the weekly show where we talk about upcoming narrative lectionary passages that we're going to be preaching here at Riverside. This Sunday, November, I almost said March, November 23rd, is Reverend Mira, our Minister of Justice, Advocacy, and Change, MJAC. That's how I remember what it stands for. And you are in the pulpit preaching Jeremiah 29. So maybe before we get to Jeremiah, how are you doing with the pulpit, just days away coming up here? Does that feel like excitement, nerves? What's the kind of pre-sermon jitters that go through your body?
Yeesh. That was a big question. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because I think that we need to hear this. I think it's a
Mm.
timely message. I'm excited to share it, and I think scripture comes to life. And I don't know how the lectionary does this, but it's always relevant. Every week,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, how did the lectionary people know that this would be happening at this moment in history?
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
God is alive in the scriptures. So yeah, I'm excited.
I certainly hope so. Well, this part is Jeremiah 29. Give us the overview. What's going on in this chapter? This has the whole pray for the welfare of the city. That might be one phrase people can grab onto or have heard, but kind of drop us into what this passage in Jeremiah 29 is.
Well, I think the other passage, the other verse that people know really well is the one that I always see in those, like, there's like a poster of a runner and a finish line. And what is it again? I have it here. It's 11. For surely I know the
Oh,
plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans for your welfare and not for harm, to give you a future with hope. So that's actually the one that stands out to
okay.
me. Yeah,
Okay.
and so what if I told you that this chapter has nothing to do with your welfare alone?
What? It's not about, God's going to make sure my 401k goes on the up and up, and my kids are going to get into the perfect school, and
Yeah,
everything's going to be great. And,
no,
yeah.
no, it's not your Hallmark card, scripture. It's not your, I know you love to run. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win
Ah.
that race. You may have to crawl to that finish line.
Mm.
It's not that. It's not any of that. What if I told you that we have this passage all wrong?
Uh-oh.
And, and so that's what excites me about this passage. What's happening
Mm.
here is that the Babylonians have come and they've kidnapped the creme of the crop of the ancient Israelite population because it's listed here. They're the priests, the leaders. Is it listed here? It's in verse 1, right? The priests, the prophets, the elders. So these are the people who are typically in charge. They're the creme of the crop of the population. I know we don't love to think about our community in that way, but it's the people of the most influence. Kidnapped all of them, and they're now exiled from their homeland. And there are some of the prophets are saying one thing to resist, and God through Jeremiah is saying something else. And God is saying, plant seeds here, build homes, have children, multiply, and even seek the welfare of your neighbor, of your city, of the people around you, and you will have, you will have your welfare met. Seek the peace of the city, and your peace will be met. And I'll say this: when I think that one side of my family, my dad's side, my dad was exiled from his homeland. My mother left voluntarily from her homeland. In some ways you can say that she had to, it was a forced migration because of climate change and economic reasons. Most people don't want to leave their homeland. Most people choose to stay. um, Many people who leave are forced to leave, and some choose to leave. So this particular story is talking about a people who were forced to leave. But when I think about people who have to leave for economic reasons, it's usually the people who have the resources that are able to leave. So I wonder if that part of this population were snatched up, kidnapped, and taken away. But when I read that it's the priests and the prophets and the elders, I wonder, was it easier for them to leave violence because they were going somewhere safer?
Yeah.
I
It's
wonder,
like
did they
they saw where this was going. They're like, wait a minute. I think that let's align ourselves with the new power. Let's just
yes,
cozy up to the
this
new
might be,
rulers.
yeah,
Yeah.
this might actually be safe. This might be the safe way to go.
Ooh.
And I wonder, like, maybe it was exile, and maybe it was we have the resources to leave for safety.
Yeah.
I wonder. So these are questions that I wondered because of my
Hmm.
my own experience
Yeah.
as a migrant, as an immigrant.
Yeah.
Um, so those are questions that come up here. What's interesting is I do remember someone when I was in youth group, someone did give me a card when I was in high school. I was about to graduate, go to college, and they did give me a card that said that had that Jeremiah 29:11 passage.
Yeah. I know the plans I have for you.
Yeah, and I was like,
College
"Oh,
graduate.
great, that's amazing." I'm gonna, and I ended up leaving Hong Kong, where I was born, to go to college in Australia. Again, I had, my family had the resources to send me to Australia, but also I had to go to Australia because a Western degree had more value for someone like me than a degree from the East. Just generally, there was this view that education in the West is much more valuable. So I think there's a nuance. There's always a nuance. While people can choose to leave, there's always also a pressure. There's always, this is the path we have to choose to be safe or to be secure. So this is the path I chose, that my family supported me, so that I could get an education and get paid well, to achieve financial stability and security. So this was the passage my friend gave me to encourage me on my journey. My dad, though, he was like, "You're going to go over there and you're going to study really hard, and it's going to be great. Make the most of it and make sure you come back." And he said a funny thing. I'll say it now. It's a little problematic. He was like, "But be careful they don't change your accent." Because I was going to Australia, and Australia have very distinct accent, and my dad's an Indian man with a very distinct Indian accent. What was underneath that comment was, "We worked really hard for you not to sound so Asian. Don't go and make yourself sound even more different when you get this education, that you come back and you don't know who you are." So a piece of that was, again, nuance. Take what you need, but come back. Don't forget who you are. Preserve who you are. So these are all the messages that you get. Okay, let me go back to the context, because now I've taken us all over the place. Let's go back to this context. These people have left, the exiled, and in some ways, this story is justifying why they've left and why they've had to stay. And I think what Jeremiah is also saying, is, stay there. You're going to stay there for 70 years. So you and I are not going to live 70 years, right?
Well, I'm fingers crossed, but we'll see.
I don't want to live well, I want to live till I'm 70. I don't want to live 70 years more than my age now. I'm good. I want to get to heaven. But the
Yeah, it's
elders,
basically we got a whole generation here that's anyone who's hearing this message, sorry, this is where you're going to be for this whole generation. It's going to be your maybe grandkids who are the ones who see the end of
exactly.
this.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at. The elders, the prophets, the
Yeah.
priests, they're not they're not the people who are going to return back. They're not that generation. So
Yeah.
essentially, this message is actually for the second generation or possibly the third,
Yeah.
that you're going to stay here and you're going to build homes, you're going to plant, you're going to work towards peace and the welfare of the city and your own, but you're going to come back. It's a
Yeah.
promise of return. And what's complicated about that message as an immigrant is that this sounds like assimilation or
Mm.
integration rather, or assimilation. Sometimes I get the two mixed up. It sounds like you're being forced to to assimilate to a culture, an
Yep.
ideology that's not your own.
Leave your
So
language behind, speak ours instead. Leave your customs behind, adopt these new ones. Speak
yeah,
American, why don't you? That sort of approach.
exactly. And so when I was reading that, I remembered my dad's words.
Yeah.
Like, go and get your education, but don't forget who you are. Come back because we still have our business. We still have our
Yeah.
work to do. We still have a family here. This is where we are. He wanted to keep us together because remember, my dad was exiled from his own homeland.
Mm.
He understood the value of a Western education, but he wanted us to come back.
Yeah.
Um, and I did, I'm here in the US, so I never went back to Hong Kong. But save that story for another sermon. So all of this is in this reading of this scripture. I'm thinking about my own story. I'm thinking about what happened there. I'm thinking about all of this. And now I'm thinking, what is the message for today? We hear these stories of people who have been exiled throughout our history. This is the transatlantic slavery,
Mm-hmm.
the passage of tears. Is that what it's called? The Native American journey. I think about in my own life, like the way that I chose to migrate here. I have no family here. When you're forced to even leave relationships is a form of exile, whether it's by choice or you're forced out um, of relationships, of marriages, of your family. We are in these spaces where we have to choose to survive. Sometimes staying, the people who were left behind staying, they have to find their way to survive. This story is encouraging the people who had to leave and find a new beginning, a way to keep living so that they can survive. So when we think of the story, when we think today of the people who are currently who have to leave as refugees, who come to the United States, this some might say you chose this dangerous path. So if you're going to end up in prison or end up detained or starve on your journey there or you're attacked, that's on you. But I think we have to just see their journey with a compassionate lens, knowing that they were choosing the path that would bring them safety and flourishing because they too heard a promise: go and build a home, plant seeds, multiply, because my plans are for you, for your welfare and not for harm. They too were hearing that message of hope. If I leave this dangerous place, God has plans for my welfare and for my peace. And I think immigrants in this nation, they always come with that spirit. They never come to destroy because that's their home too. They come to build, they build businesses, they find communities, they integrate with other communities. Immigrants, by and large, they don't come to destroy a nation, they come to add to it. And I think when we're reading this story, if we read through that lens, we have to read it with openness that they're here for our welfare and our peace, and we have to give that back as
Yep.
well. Give
I love
them
it.
peace and welfare as well.
Yeah.
That would be a true reading of this text
Yeah.
from both sides, a true call for us to live together in a community where there are outsiders and insiders,
Yeah.
understanding not everyone chooses to leave, some are forced. It's very nuanced.
Yep.
But no one gets to a place, especially when they're leaving some form of harm, choosing to violate that place, to extract from it, to destroy that community. When you're leaving, forced to leave, or when there's harm, they're always looking to plant seeds to build a hopeful future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I mean, all of that. And I love the serendipity of you ending up this preaching this Sunday with this text and the way it connects to your entire story, from your family to your moves from country to place to place, and not to mention the world we constantly
Mhm.
find ourselves in. That is, it's not like it's anything new,
Mhm.
the need and of human migration, whether it's by choice or by force, but we are seeing it in fresh ways, horrific ways right now. And hearing you describe all this, it makes me realize, like, this chapter is written from the perspective of the immigrant, from the person who is on the move. So if I'm sitting comfortable, born in this country, what are they doing here? Well, this is for them. This is for the migrant. This is the message there. And it makes me wonder, like, we don't have it, but what was going on in Babylon? How did they feel about these people coming in? I bet some were like, go back to where you came from, deport
Yeah.
them. And others were like, welcome to the melting pot. Let's integrate into a beautiful tapestry of humanity, which, I mean, is the exact divide we keep finding ourselves in. And so
They
much to
didn't
it.
they didn't choose that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was the leaders that did that. The
Yeah.
Babylonian empire, the leaders, the people in positions of power, the people of Babylon, they didn't choose that.
Yeah.
And they found a way to live together. And I think this opens the possibility even now for us to find ways to live together. This are the leaders of our nation are using migrants. They're using, even as they're still they're fighting about healthcare. They're saying the ones that are opposing us funding Affordable Care Act and universal healthcare are saying, why do immigrants deserve this? Why do people who weren't born in this country deserve this? When it's just the smallest percentage of
Yeah.
migrants actually take advantage of this healthcare.
That's the most ridiculous argument. I mean, I tend to think so. Because looking at the United States legislature, like you just said, nearly, like, it's such a small sliver of that immigrant population who would even benefit from the
Yeah.
ACA and from this healthcare.
Mhm.
And then I would say to someone who says, why do these people deserve healthcare? Because they're people. You already said it in your question. They do deserve health care. They're a person and they deserve to be healthy. And if we can provide for that, wonderful. I will double my donation to whatever fund it goes to on my taxes if it's going to help people. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
don't get that
And if you
logic either.
work, if if you support the welfare and peace of a neighbor,
Yeah.
that that neighbor is also supporting. I mean,
Yep.
immigrants don't come here to be sick. They come here to work.
Yep.
They come here to work and to build a life, you
But
know?
that's the harder, I'm pretty sure one conversation, one video on YouTube, one post on whatever platform, sadly, is not going to change someone's libertarian mindset, because they are so stuck on, I'm just caring about me and what's good for me, and my
Yeah,
neighbor can care about what's good for them. And I'm like, yeah, but can I care about my neighbor too? Because what
yeah,
benefits all of us means I'm a part of all of us. Why should anyone be
yeah.
excluded from care and benefit?
And
Yeah.
I keep going back to COVID. We
Yeah. Yeah.
learned during our experience of COVID that if we don't care about our frontline workers, people who work in the service industry, we all get impacted,
Yeah. Yep.
And I keep coming back to that. If we immigrants make up such a large proportion of our service population, not all of them, they even the ones that don't take up that don't work in the service industry, they work in jobs. We all need each other. The point I'm trying to make is that that immigrants bring value to this nation. This
Yep.
nation was built on the backs of immigrants and enslaved folks. We need each other to
Yeah.
survive. Something else that I'm going to bring into the sermon on Sunday is this idea of kapwa, that is a Filipino idea. There's an African saying that's escaping my mind that is very similar. Is I am because you are.
Ubuntu. That's the African saying.
Thank you. That's the one I was like, why can't I remember that word? Yeah. And the idea of kapwa is what my dad said. Go there, get your education, but remember your family. Remember to come
Yeah.
back. So get what you need. That is important. But remember that you have to what you're doing, everything you're doing in life is connected to the people around you,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you
Oh,
need each other. We are so interconnected.
that'll
So
preach. Yeah.
yeah. And so this message is so deep on so many ways, but I cannot um it doesn't escape me that this is a story for the other, for immigrants. It's for the any new leadership. We're about to welcome new leadership here in New York City, and the suspicion around new leadership,
Mm,
you know, can we believe that this new leader is going to work for the welfare of the city and the peace of the city? Can we
yeah.
reciprocate by doing the same with that openness? New church leadership in churches when the new and the old clash. Can we believe that the new is here to do work towards the peace and welfare
Yeah.
of the church? Can the old reciprocate in the same way? So this is challenging all of that. There's
Yeah.
these our life is full of these movements of give and take. Can we both,
Yeah.
instead of give and this take and extract, lean into the moment, lean into the possibilities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's at least 3 sermons in there, so good
Oh,
luck picking one. It'll
luck.
be fun for us all to show up on Sunday and see which one it lands on. But as always, it's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be rich. It's gonna be a treat. It's
I
gonna be
won't be
lovely.
sprinkling water. Like maybe I'll throw sand, soil. I don't know. Probably
Got to
not.
make a mess somehow. Why not? Why not? Mira, I love getting to talk to you about this. We could talk for an hour longer, but I think you got to go write a sermon. We got to go, whatever's next on our day. People got to get ready for church. So join us in all the ways and places. You've watched this. Way to go. Check. We'll have open Bible study on Sunday morning, 9:30. That'll be a class on Zoom or one in MLK 316. So if you're on site or online, join us either one. Join us for worship. There will be virtual coffee hour, but you won't be joining us for virtual coffee hour because you are off on a bus with other on-site
Yeah.
Riversiders,
Yeah.
right?
You know how we usually do like MSJ, Mission and Social Justice events, where like sit in a lecture and listen to the experts? We're going on a field trip. We're going on a field trip to a community where churches work together to advocate for affordable housing to be built,
Hmm.
and we're going to learn from those churches and the people who live in that community about how they did that work so that we can do the same. Yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Is there
So
still room on the bus?
field
What's
trip.
the list like? Is there a waiting list? How do people join you for that if they want to join?
Well, they can go and look on our church calendar. If you click on the date November 23, you click on that and you'll see there's a form that you fill in, and children are encouraged to join. This is multi-generational. Our children need to know that affordable housing is very important and they can be a part of that work. So we
Amazing.
certainly encourage everyone to come.
So if you're in the New York area, join the field trip after church. That can be your own little sermon talk back on the bus with Reverend Mira, and those of us online, we'll keep ourselves busy diving into all the implications of this sermon for Sunday and far beyond. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Mira, thanks for chatting, and we look forward to hearing it on Sunday. See you then.
Eugene, bye.